You're listening to Awards Magnet, a Gold Derby podcast. Subscribe for new episodes on Thursdays and special monthly mailbag episodes. Email us at slugfests@goldderby.com. Now, on to the show. Welcome back to Awards Magnet. I'm Christopher Rosen. I'm joined by Joyce. And Joyce, it's my favorite episode of the whole year. Our early 2026 Oscar predictions.
How badly did we do last year?
Well, let's find out. So we're going to start here. We're going to talk all about what we did last year. This to recap for those who are new listeners or watchers. We made our early Oscar picks last March. But for this past Oscars, where Nora won Best Picture, Joyce. Neither of us had a Nora.
Obviously not.
And so we'll recap what we did last year, have a good laugh, and then predict next year's Oscars. And I'm really confident. I feel like I'm going to go 90% when we get to next year's Oscars, Joyce. I'm way in.
That's higher than the 2 years ago when that was a pretty easy to guess.
2 years ago was pretty easy to guess. So for context, last year, I think 2 years ago we got 6 out of 10 each in the Best Picture, or 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10, whatever. We're not going to go back to 2 years ago. And we did that on last year's episode. So if you want to listen, you could go back. I don't know why you would want to do that necessarily, but there you go. But so last year, Joyce, when we did our early 2025 Oscar predictions, we each got 3 out of the 10 Best Picture nominees that were eventual Best Picture nominees. So congratulations to us, I guess.
Good job, us. Past selves. Past lives. Our past lives.
We did not. I'll read my picks, and then you want to read. I'll read both of our picks, and we can talk about it. How about that? So that makes it easier. We both had The Apprentice, Blitz, Conclave, and Dune Part 2, both of which were Best Picture nominees. Emmanuel. We both had Kinds of Kindness, The Nickel Boys, and Sing Sing. And then you had Hard Truths and Joker Folie à Deux. And I had We Live in Time and Gladiator 2.
We Live in Time. You rode hard for We Live in Time.
Just to spoil this, I had multiple We Live in Time references coming up. I think I had 4 above the line nominations for this nice, sweet, totally inconsequential A24 movie that came and went with Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh. We had a lot of the same here, Joyce. The Apprentice, Blitz, we were high on those movies at this time last year.
Well, Blitz, this had Oscar buzz.
Blitz, this had Oscar buzz, definitely a top candidate. The Apprentice ended up doing actually really well throughout award season. That was this is so over, we are so back meme, I think, for that movie. But going into Cannes, it was a big buzzy title. Premiered at Cannes to muted response, but then it had a real resurgence, I think, in the fall, and obviously got those 2 acting nominations. So not a Best Picture nominee, but I feel good about our at least saying it would be good.
Feel good about predicting something that didn't happen.
Well, it feels much better about it than we did for the movie Emmanuel, Audrey Diwan's
Does that exist?
Movie.
Is that real?
That never came out here. Still waiting for Neon to release it here. And then Kinds of Kindness. Now, when we recorded this last March, Joyce, that was the Yorgos Lanthimos movie coming out after Poor Things and just won 4 Oscars. We were high on that movie, and then maybe a week later, they
dated it for June 21st, and I was like, okay, never mind.
Cross it off then. It reminds me of Major League, Joyce. You love Major League as much as me? The movie?
Not as much as you. Probably.
In the movie, when they're going through the rosters, when they come in and the guy's like, this guy's dead. And the owner's like, cross him off then. And that's what it feels like for Kinds of Kindness when it got dated for June.
Yeah.
And then Joker Folie à Deux and Gladiator 2. We both were doing the same thing. We
picked a legacy sequel.
And neither worked at all.
Well, mine was the bigger bomb. Yours at least got a nomination.
A single nomination for costume design. For Best Director Choice, again, I'll read both of ours and we could chat. We both had Audrey Diwan for Emmanuel. We both had Yorgos Lanthimos for Kinds of Kindness. We both had Steve McQueen for Blitz and Denis Villeneuve for Dune Part 2. And then you had Mike Lee for Hard Truths, and I had Greg Cuidar for Sing Sing. So 0 for 5 for both of us.
And I do recall just putting in Denis just to fill out the slots, but I was not confident that he was going to get, I was never confident he was a placeholder the entire season for me.
Unfortunately, he was. And we looked at, again, and we'll talk about this, I think, with our next year's picks when we do that in a little while. But we both leaned on past nominees here, right? A potential in Audrey Diwan, Emmanuel doesn't exist, but at the time it felt like maybe this is a Cannes movie that will come out, people will respond strongly to, and she will carry through to the season like maybe Anatomy of a Fall did, right? But that never happened. And then you had Mike Leigh for Hard Truths, I had Greg Quidar for Sing Sing. Greg, an Oscar nominee for screenwriting, I guess. That doesn't count, though.
But was never discussed for directing.
Never was.
Ever.
Best actor, I will say, as we're going through these quickly, we had, this was our best category, Joyce, so congratulations, especially for you. You got 60%. We both had Coleman Domingo and Ray Fiennes. You also had Sebastian Stan.
Obviously.
For Sing Sing.
Sing Sing.
You also had Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice. I'm reading it, Joyce. It's late here. I'm reading it. We both had Daniel Craig for Queer. Did not happen. You had Andre Holland for The Actor, which is coming out next week, I believe.
Are we sure about that? Is it?
That's what they say. That's what the emails say. And then I had Andrew Garfield for We Live in Time and Paul Mescal for Gladiator 2.
You had Gladiator in a lot of spots. I also remember this.
I was way in on Gladiator 2. I was like, Ridley, this is Ridley's time. And then we saw Gladiator 2, and I was like, Ridley's going to win Best Director, like Marty for The Departed. And everyone on Reddit laughed at me, and they're still laughing at me.
As they should. And then you also put Paul back in after you saw Gladiator.
Correct.
Yeah.
Wonderful. A wonderful choice by me.
Yes, and I also recall you were low on Seb at this time last year, but I was like, he can get in. And it's like, it's a toxic character, but it's like respect will be paid.
This was a question we had most of, not to get political here, Joyce, but we had this question most of last year, which was how much of appetite will there be for a Donald Trump character someone playing Donald Trump? And it turned out enough that Sebastian Stan got an Oscar nomination. So congratulations on that early call. For Best Actress, Joyce, we completely flopped, and I will read these off quickly. We both had Angelina Jolie for Maria and Lady Gaga for Joker Folie à Deux, and Saoirse Ronan for Blitz, and Nomi Merlant for Emmanuel. And then I had Florence Pugh, and you had Marianne Jean-Baptiste for Hard Truths. So you didn't get any of these right, but I would at least Marianne Jean-Baptiste was a Triple Crown winner in the acting this year for the critics.
And again, you and Flo, We Live in Time.
Everywhere. I gotta say, look, We Live in Time. You can watch it now on HBO Max, or just Max, I guess they call it. It's cleaner. Not my fave British weepy. I still would go like a Richard Curtis joint over We Live in Time, but Florence Pugh's great in it. It's a real movie star performance. She's quite good. That could have been the old Golden Globes would have nominated Florence Pugh.
I'm sure they would have.
And supporting actor choice, we both had our Roy boys getting nominated, Kieran Culkin and Jeremy Strong, and that paid off in real life because they did get nominated.
And that was the only reason I had them both.
And we both had Samuel L. Jackson, who at this point last year was considered the frontrunner to probably win Best Supporting Actor by a lot of people.
He was number one in the odds for a while.
Didn't happen. I had Paul Raci for Sing Sing and Joseph Quinn for the memorable performance he gave in Gladiator 2.
Not even Denzel.
And you had John Lithgow for Conclave and Clarence Macklin for Sing Sing. Not a bad guess. I feel like he just missed.
Well, someday someone will write the oral history of what went wrong with the Sing Sing campaign there. It is weird how like none of the Conclave supporting actors took off at all.
Not a single one. Lithgow, I never thought would have, having seen it. I did think you could maybe generate some enthusiasm for Stanley Tucci, but it never happened. It was very strange. Yeah, I don't know. And then supporting actress choice, you got one right. Isabella Rossellini for Conclave. Congratulations.
Isabella and her 8 minutes and 16 seconds. You all doubted her. I never did. Not even a year ago when I didn't even know she was in it for 8 minutes and 16 seconds.
The other, again, the trick of this exercise, Joyce, is that we don't talk about it beforehand.
No.
So we go in blind. And yet this year, again, last year, we had the same four that we both got wrong. Hong Chow for Kinds of Kindness, Danielle Deadweiler for The Piano Lesson, a SAG nominee, Anjanette Ellis-Taylor for Nickel Boys, and Natasha Lyonne for His Three Daughters, none of which were nominated. We both had those four. I also had Margaret Qualley for Kinds of Kindness, which was a miss. But almost got nominated for Substance.
Almost. Really? How close was she?
Not that close.
No industry nominations.
What are you going to do? And then for screenplay, we'll do quickly. We do the screenplay ones too, Joyce. For adapted screenplay, 3 out of 5 for each of us. Conclave, Nickel Boys, and Sing Sing. Then we also had Emmanuel and Queer, neither of which panned out.
And this turned out to be a rather soft category in the end. So
yeah. And then for original screenplay, we both had A Real Pain. We both had Blitz. We both had His Three Daughters. I also had Hitman, which is not even eligible in this category, so that was a foolish choice. And I had We Live in Time. I don't know if you've heard of this movie, Joyce. We Live in Time. It's the biggest movie ever. And you had Blitz and Hard Truths and Kinds of Kindness.
Yeah. So this was a poorer showing than what we did 2 years ago, but
not great.
Still proud. I think this is better than when I went all in on The Sun. Remember that?
Who could forget? The Sun was such a great movie. I can't wait for it to come out.
Yeah, it's going to come out with Shogun Season 2. So.
And Empire of Light. Now
that was a great one.
Let's move on to our early 2026 Oscar picks. Joyce, there are many like this, but these are ours.
I feel like I know what you're going to have, and it's going to be very similar to mine.
So that's the gag, and I do think that will be very similar. I'll go first then. So I have After the Hunt, Luca Guadagnino's movie, coming to Amazon MGM. I have Avatar: Fire and Ash against Better Judgment because I'm not sure they'll come back for a third time, but it would be kind of obvious that they'll come back to it because the previous Avatar movies were such big hits. I have Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein coming to Netflix. I have Hamnet, which is from Chloe Zhao. The History of Sound, which is a movie release. Now that they're in the conversation, thanks to The Substance, I have that getting in. Jay Kelly, which is another Netflix movie, Noah Baumbach's new film. Marty Supreme, A24's my future favorite movie from Josh Safdie. Sentimental Value, which is a Neon release coming off of Nora. Untitled Paul Thomas Anderson movie, which is probably called One Battle After Another. And Wicked for Good. Those are my 10.
I have After the Hunt, Avatar: Fire and Ash, The Ballad of a Small Player, Deliver Me from Nowhere, Hamnet, Jay Kelly, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Sentimental Value, and Wicked for Good.
So we have 8 of the 10 matched. So you have Battle of a Small Player and Deliver Me from Nowhere, 2 movies I'm very excited for, and I have Frankenstein and History of Sound.
I'm just going to go for Edward Berger three-peat here, and maybe he'll finally get a directing nomination this time too.
My thinking was this will be my favorite Edward Berger movie and actually won't get as many Oscar nominations as the previous 2 movies. But at the same time, that's how I used to think about the Oscars. And now that my favorite movie of the year 2 years in a row won Best Picture, maybe I'm the problem. It's me.
Except for that 1 month when you had Challengers as your favorite
Except for that 1 month where I switched to Challengers. I was ride or die for Anora for months. Am I an Oscar voter, Joyce?
No, you're just a bandwagoner. So you have no spine.
Wow. No, I don't.
You jumped off the bandwagon, and then you jumped back on when it was on the rise again.
I do love it though so much. All right, so let's talk about some of these. So After the Hunt, Luca Guadagnino, not always a sure thing, right? Like,
I'm not Call Me by Your Name. This was. I'll be honest. This was the last one I put in.
I think it'll do. My take is I think it'll do really well in terms of unless it's I'm going into this in good faith. Every one of these movies is going to be the best 5-star Letterboxd movie. So that's how I'm thinking. That said, I think After the Hunt will have a lot of support from the actors, right? Because I think it's got like 3 performances that I'll mention here coming up that you might as well, at least 1 or 2 of them. And I think it'll be like a fave, but I'm wondering if it will be an all Academy, like Best Picture nominee. It might just be like an acting thing. Who knows? But I think it's going to be obviously a huge priority for Amazon. It's like their biggest title, I'm sure, going into the fall. Avatar, like I said when I was doing it, like, I don't know, like, I guess it has to be in there, right?
I think it will obviously be huge. I kind of feel like people were very skeptical of Way of Water, and I don't know if it was just because of, it had been 13 years since the first one, and now obviously like the gap is not as long between 2 and 3, and I feel like its success and the fact that it was good caught people off guard a little bit, or at least like people online, like some of film Twitter, but it's like, why would you doubt Big Jim?
You can't. That was one of the lessons we didn't even do. I didn't do. I did lessons. Joyce, I don't know if you saw it. Did you read the site? I did a lesson. I did lessons to learn from this Oscar race, and one of my lessons was not that. But I think that is a great lesson to remember. Never doubt Big Jim.
Yeah,
you cannot doubt Big Jim. So I'm not doubting him. He's in. We both have Hamnet, which is Chloe Zhao's return from Eternals to independent filmmaking.
I'm glad she has a movie out this year, the same year they finally addressed that huge thing sticking out of the ocean in Captain America: Brave New World.
We don't talk about Marvel as much anymore, Joyce. In real life either. I have not talked to you. That's how far it has fallen to me.
And like, I have loved Marvel, but not recently.
Boy, Captain America was really rough, but they did address the big hand in the ocean. I still don't understand how that was in the ocean and didn't cause catastrophic tidal waves like we see in Paradise, my new favorite Hulu show.
Well, do they have a bunker in Colorado?
I don't know.
Did Julianne Nicholson hit up
Build Me My
compound?
City?
Yeah. Where's the Avengers compound now?
I don't know. So Hamnet, I think, is going to be very good. Jesse Buckley we'll talk about later. Paul Mescal we'll talk about a little bit as well. They play William Shakespeare and his wife, whose son dies.
Hamnet, yeah.
We both have Jay Kelly, which is Noah Baumbach's latest grown-up coming-of-age movie.
Huge cast.
I'm a huge Noah Baumbach fan, Joyce. Did we talk about that? We weren't even doing this together when we did Marriage Story, so I'm excited. We did White Noise.
Yeah, you were, but you were very excited for White Noise.
I was so excited for White Noise, so I'm hoping this is more Marriage Story than White Noise. I think it will be based on the subject. I just love Noah Baumbach movies, and I think he's just great. Can't wait to see him working with George and Adam, my good pals.
And he co-wrote this with Emily Mortimer, who's in the movie too.
Mm-hmm. It's a great year for the Mortimer family because they're just all over the place. We both have we both have Marty Supreme. I'll try to do it alphabetical. We both have Marty Supreme, A24 movie with our boy Timothée Chalamet, directed by Josh Safdie.
There's double Safdie this year separately.
Yes.
So
I've seen this compared to Catch Me If You Can meets Wolf of Wall Street, so I assume this will be my favorite movie ever made.
I mean, it's about a table tennis champion, so I'm like half there.
Sentimental Value, which is watching. How do you say the director's name?
Joachim
Trier, who directed The Worst Person in the World. I'm the worst person in the world because. Say it again. Joachim Trier. Not going to get that right for weeks.
I mean, like, what was the last non-English name you've gotten right?
What's the last English name I've gotten right, Joyce?
I don't know.
I get yours right. That's about it. Sentimental Value. This is a neon movie. Joachim Trier. Great cast. Feels like this is either going to be Anora or it's going to be Emmanuel to me. But I think it'll be more Anora than Emmanuel.
It feels like it could be like the highbrow, like international cool pick too. Yes. You know.
And we both have PTA's movie, One Battle After Another, which we could call, even though it's not called that yet, but I assume it will be. I was terribly vexed about what to do with this movie, Joyce. It's coming out in August. There was a whole article recently, and I think it was it Bloomberg or the Wall Street Journal about Warner Brothers and their risky slate for the year. It looks like a great filmmaker slate. Just the best filmmakers, all making movies with Warner Brothers. Bong Joon-ho, Paul Thomas Anderson, Ryan Coogler, Maggie Gyllenhaal, etc., etc. James Gunn has got a Superman movie. This movie coming out, and they were like, in the article, it was like, the expectation is that because it's a Leonardo DiCaprio movie, it can make a lot of money. I assume the play is like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and it's going to be Paul Thomas Anderson's like, biggest movie, action set pieces. And I'm just like, man, it feels like such a, like, to me, I guess they could always move it and maybe it comes out later. Who knows? But right now I'm like, I don't know what to do with this because I know I will like it. But if it ends up like not doing well, doesn't that like put a stink on it that will hurt it as an Oscar movie later?
You mean commercially?
If it doesn't do well commercially, will that hurt it? And coming out in August, will that hurt it? Like if there's a lot of negative headlines about it. But I don't know. Maybe it'll be a huge hit. I just didn't know what to do with this at all. But I put it in because I'm excited for it.
I don't think it needs to be a huge hit because his movies are not really that anyway. So, like, no one is expecting it to be a summer blockbuster. So,
they're paying for it like it's a summer blockbuster. As I
but it's like, it's not good. Like, I don't think people think it's going to be like an Oppenheimer.
No, if it could be like a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that maybe would be good. But I'm
Yeah,
very
like
excited
there's
for it.
more. I think but like Once Upon a Time, there's more cachet with that.
Yeah.
So, but like I think I don't think it will bomb, but I think it would do okay. And then like if it's good and we don't really have any reason to think it won't be, um, like I think voters, like critics, would be here for it, and I think the industry would be here for it too. Like his problem is just winning. You
Right,
know,
because he gets nominated.
he has no problems getting
No,
nominations.
and he even got
Like
nominated
Phantom
for some
Thread, like
Phantom
last minute.
Thread and
Yeah.
Licorice Pizza, two movies that I think most people were like, they're great movies, but that like were kind of surprising, right? I would say maybe a little bit. Certainly Phantom Thread last minute, and then Wicked for Good. We both have. I have nothing really to say about it. We'll talk about this as we get down to the acting. I think it will lose nominations, possibly actually win an Oscar, and still get in for Best Picture.
So you have one of the two Frankenstein movies.
So I have Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein.
Not The Bride.
Not The Bride. So The Bride sounds very... My mother would be like, that sounds interesting. Which is code for...
Interesting is such a versatile word to use to describe anything.
Because it sounds like it's maybe a musical, Joyce? Is there or musical elements to it? Is that right?
I don't know, but I talked to John Magaro
a
couple months ago, and he's in it, and he was like, it's like insane, it's crazy, it's like, it's like it's from Maggie Gyllenhaal, and it's like you won't believe it, until you see it. So I don't. Who knows?
It sounds like a big swing. I'm very excited for it. Incredible cast. Jesse Buckley as the title character, and Christian Bale as Frankenstein. I'm going with Frankenstein, which is a Netflix movie that Guillermo del Toro did with Oscar Isaac as Dr. Frankenstein and Jacob Elordi as Frankenstein's monster, with Mia Goth and Christoph Waltz in the cast. I don't know. It's hard for me to like. I keep going back to this. I'm like, he got Nightmare Alley in. Not a movie anybody super loved. Maybe a soft field that year. Regardless, I was like, people have such respect for Guillermo del Toro, especially in the Academy, it seems to me, that I think unless this is not good, it will get in. And I just am not going to believe it's not good. So I think it'll get in.
Sure, but I think Nightmare Alley also benefited from that field. Like, we don't know what this field is going to be.
Correct.
So it might be squeezed out.
Correct.
Like,
it
they
could.
don't care about it. So.
It could. So you have the other Netflix movie, which is Ballad of Small Player.
Edward Berger, let's go. Colin Farrell, Tilda Swinton.
It sounds like something that would be way my jam. It's about a gambler in Macau, I believe. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I love gambling. I love Macau. All this stuff sounds great. But I don't know. Netflix has just the craziest slate. There's a Catherine Bigelow movie they have coming out. There's the new Knives Out movie they have coming out. Both of which probably could also be in the Best Picture conversation, I would imagine. So, plus Jay Kelly, plus Frankenstein, plus Ballad of Small Player.
And they're really good, as we know, at getting nominations in phase one. Their issue is in phase two.
I was listening to Neon boss Tom Quinn on with Matt Bellany, and he literally said it was a great interview, Joyce, because he was literally like, Netflix is great at getting nominations.
They are. They know how to run. They run the phase one campaign.
And nominations. He actually said this too, not derog. He was like, not that it's easy to get a nomination, because I don't think he was that cocky, but it was like, it's easier to get nominations because you really just have to be. It's the admiration, right? It's getting the attention and the admiration. So like Emilia Perez this year was 13 nominations. One thing when we talked about this in hindsight, even before the Carla Sofia Gascon exploded the movie, was everybody's comment was, what a swing. It's a big swing. And they admired the swing, whether or not they liked the movie, right? Like, it's like, well, it's a big swing. The movie got obviously castigated online by film Twitter and for reasons that are both very legitimate and then also maybe some bad faith, but mostly legitimate. But regardless, it was like a movie that the industry admired. They gave it a lot of nominations and then it only won 2 Oscars. So Netflix should do well in the nominations, and we'll see if they could get one of these over the top.
Yeah, like phase one is about, I mean, there's also more slots. Like you vote for stuff you admire or respect. But when it comes to the wins, you only pick one thing, or you have to rank your favorite in first. Then you're going to go with your favorite. You don't have time for these other ones that you just merely like.
No. And then the other ones we flipped on. So I have The History of Sound, and you have Deliver Me from Nowhere. Now, The History of Sound is a movie release, like I was saying, from Oliver Hermanis, who made my beloved movie Living, Joyce, which had me in tears
You were weeping.
a couple years ago.
I wasn't even there with you, but you were weeping.
Absolutely weeping. And then walked out of the movie, and I remember talking to some woman who was probably like only slightly older than me, and she was like, what a hack piece of junk, basically. And I was like, it was so emotional. Can't believe it. And she was like, oh, that was so cheesy. I was like, oh, well, okay. Anyway, it's Oliver Hermanis directing it. Paul Mescal and Josh O'Connor. It's about the relationship between two men who meet in 1916 and then travel together in the summer of 1919 to record the folk songs of their countrymen in rural New England. So it's music, it's romance, it's two of the hottest leading actors, like in terms of buzz, and then also for people online, probably in terms of physical appearance.
It'll be the film Twitter and Letterboxd.
I'm just like, this is going to be like, I'm like way in on this. I'm like, this has got, to me, like Telluride written all over it, and then Toronto, and then through, and the Vanity Fair profiles on Josh O'Connor and Paul Mescal, who's in 2 movies, and so is Josh. I'm way in on this whole thing. I think this is going to get in. And I thought if Mubi was able to, again, get in with substance, maybe this is more traditional they could get in.
I can also just see this being like the film Twitter fave that does not make it in the end.
All of a Stranger style.
Yes, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And you have Deliver Me from Nowhere.
Yeah, the basic music biopic, obviously.
Jeremy Allen White as Bruce. I wonder how much they do that in there. It's not a lot because it's Nebraska, so it's not like Arena Rock Bruce.
No. And I have so many friends who think when they hear that they think they're booing him. Like, no, they're saying Bruce.
I was saying Boo Earns. Yeah, very excited for this. I'm going to like this. Scott Cooper is a very muscular filmmaker, I would say. He's made a lot of like manly movies.
I think like James Mangold is like the ultimate dad movie filmmaker, yes. And like Scott is like the indie version of him.
Yes. So I'm excited. I am excited for that. I am very excited for that. I didn't put it in for Best Picture. I also thought of putting another music biopic in for Best Picture, which was Michael Jackson movie.
I left that out just because of fraught external factors for now.
Completely fraught, I would imagine, in terms of that. And maybe we'll mention it later. But I thought that was one. Other ones I thought of, at least, but I didn't pick. Highest to Lowest, Spike Lee's movie.
Yeah, Denzel.
The Lost Bus with Matthew McConaughey, directed by Paul Greengrass.
That just, when I see that title, it just reminds me of your favorite show, The Girls on the Bus.
Man, what a show. It was so good.
How much do you miss it?
A lot. We mentioned The Bride. How about how do you say this one? Anemone?
I have no idea.
Anemone?
Sure. DDL.
You don't even know. Wow,
DDL.
Joyce. Daniel Day-Lewis movie. Smashing Machine as a possibility.
That's Dwayne Johnson's transformative performance as MMA fighter. Wow, it's really late. Mark her.
MMA fighter, mark her. This one, another A24 sports movie from the Safdies that's not together. I'm very excited for this. F1 was a blockbuster potentially with Joseph Kosinski and Brad Pitt that I guess could be involved. And I think Bugonia from Yorgos Lanthimos. Yeah,
neither of us had that.
No.
It's a kind of kindness reunion. It's Jesse Plemons, Emma Stone. I don't know what to do with it.
Let me ask you this. I left it out too, and I left it out in most places. And I would say, like, I've seen other people be like, it's going to get in everywhere. And I guess I was wondering, like, when they're out on some, like, he obviously, like, the last couple, like, The Favorite and Poor Things were just tremendous hits with the Academy, right? And then, like, Kinds of Kindness did not work for the Academy, nor for a lot of audiences, though it didn't. Critics were pretty solid on it. I think that actually some critics even liked it more than Poor Things, because I think there's 2 modes for Yorgos, which is, like, sicko mode, which was Kinds of Kindness, and like cracked Tony McNamara period piece mode, which is like The Favorite and Poor Things. So this feels like it'll be sicko mode Yorgos, but it's coming out in cracked Tony McNamara period piece Yorgos time. And so I'm not sure what to do with it.
Yeah, like it's clear that he makes the type of quote, weird movies that the Academy enjoys and likes, but sometimes like they're out on him too, or
So
like they're not like fully in on him.
sometimes it's
Like The Lobster.
too weird.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's too weird. And I'm not sure what to do with this one. And we could be underestimating it, and maybe it comes in, and then all of a sudden it's like huge and it's everywhere. But for now, I'm going to leave it out. Let's go to Best Director, Joyce. Here's what I've got. Again, not really sure about any of these. I have Paul Thomas Anderson for One Battle After Another. I have Guillermo del Toro for Frankenstein. I have Lynn Ramsey for Die My Love, which we didn't mention earlier, but doesn't have distribution, probably going to Cannes, and I feel like I'm just going to bet on it. Joachim Trier for Sentimental Value, and Chloe Zhao for Hamnet.
So you have Lynn as a lone directing nominee without a picture nomination.
Yes.
Cool.
What is Joyce? Tell me how stupid that is.
I mean, I'm not going to say it can't happen. Who knows?
Do you think it? Let me ask you this, just generally speaking. Do you think that will that ever happen again? That with the field of 10, you will not get a Best Picture nomination for a director?
I think it's probably harder with a field of 10. Yeah, because like it happened to Foxcatcher, but that was still in the sliding scale.
I feel like it could have happened. People online already think we hate the substance, so I'm going to say this, and I'm going to tread very carefully with the most respect. I think if it was a stronger field of movies, I think Coralie Farjah would have still gotten in for director, and I think the substance could have missed for picture. But I think in this field, in this year, it was always going to get in for picture and director. But that feels like the type of movie that could maybe have done this for the first time.
I mean, maybe. I mean, last year we were also kind of struggling to fill out director too. So
maybe I shouldn't have Lynn Ramsey, but I'm going to do it.
Okay. I have PTA. Eva Berger, let's go. First directing nomination, third time's a charm. Josh Safdie for Marty Supreme.
Hell yeah.
Joachim Trier and Chloe Zhao.
So you have Edward and Josh, which I love. And I have Guillermo and Lynn. So I'm ride or die for Frankenstein and Guillermo, I guess. I actually think he could win again. I don't know. Based on if this is the field, I was like, why not? And Lynn, like we said, I don't know if that even comes out.
Listen, we went 0 for 5.
Why not?
Last year in director. So.
You have Edward, which I love. I would love that. He seems very nice. And I'm weighing on Josh Safdie. Neither of us have Benny Safdie.
No.
Who else did you think of here?
I mean, I also thought of Lynn and Die My Love, but I just kind of ignored it since it doesn't have distribution yet. It feels like it's like an A24 or like Neon film.
It feels like it would be one of them. Yes.
I thought of Yorgos, obviously, for Begonia.
Certainly Yorgos.
Spike for Highest to Lowest.
So I'm so psyched for Spike and Highest to Lowest. Another potentially summer movie that is a split Apple A24 release. So I'm just like, what am I supposed to think of this? I know I will love it, but like, is it an audience movie, or is it like, hey, this is going to be so good, it'll continue through to get awards?
Yeah, I don't know. And then we haven't mentioned Alpha yet, which is another Neon film. So I just wrote down Julia DeCurno.
Yes, that's a good one. How about Scott Cooper for your fave Deliver Me From Nowhere?
Oh my God. The new James Mangold? I mean, maybe.
He got in.
Yeah.
You mentioned Yorgos, right? Celine Song has a new movie, The Materialists. I don't believe
they dropped the. It's cleaner.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just Materialists.
Luca Guadagnino for After the Hunt?
I don't know. I don't know how they feel about it.
I don't know. I mean, Challengers was obviously... Queer was seemingly his priority based on how the season went. Mm-hmm. Challengers was the internet's priority, and the Academy had no priority for those, which is a shame because I think there are aspects of both that deserve serious recognition, but alas. Paul Greengrass for The Lost Bus.
Girls on the Bus. Paul Greengrass, The Girls on a Bus. Karen Bigelow for whatever she's doing at Netflix.
We have not we love our friends at Netflix, Joyce. Not spoken to anybody about any of these movies. I would say, like, to me, just based on, I'm like, Catherine Bigelow's made some great audience action movies, and like obviously won her Oscar for Hurt Locker, which was an action movie, and then did Zero Dark 30, which got nominations and is also an action movie. So if this ends up just being like Catherine Bigelow doing Triple Frontier, but like make it political White House thriller, isn't it? I think it's all something like that. I'm like, this sounds great. I'm just not sure if it'll be like an Oscar movie, which would not be a problem. It sounds awesome though.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think people like want her to get another nomination. You know, obviously she missed for Zero Dark 30, but you were gonna say Maggie Gyllenhaal.
I was gonna say Maggie Gyllenhaal for The Bride too. I guess I could put on the list. Let's take a. Why don't we take? I'm gonna pause here, Joyce.
You're gonna make changes already.
Well, no. We're gonna take a break. We could pause, and then we'll come back and do our acting picks. Hey, we're back, Joyce. What a break.
What did you change during the break?
So much. We're doing our early 2026 Oscar predictions, which I just can't wait for. I did make some changes here, actually, right off the bat, though. Here's what I got. For Best Actor, I have Timothée Chalamet for Marty Supreme. I have Colin Farrell for The Ballad of the Small Player, A Small Player. I have Dwayne Johnson for The Smashing Machine. I have Matthew McConaughey for The Lost Bus.
Wow.
And then I have Jeremy Allen White as Bruce Springsteen in Deliver Me From Nowhere.
You're just going, the Lost Bus is your new We Live in Time?
This is the first time I picked it. I mentioned it in a couple of spots, but I'm way in on
You're going to go back and you're going to add Lost Bus to picture and director.
I mean, maybe I should add it to direct. Maybe I should. I don't know.
I have Timmy, Leonardo DiCaprio for One Battle After Another, Colin Farrell, Dwayne Johnson, and Jeremy Allen White.
So I feel like most people, when they're doing this, are going to have Jeremy Allen White. Just like it seems like the most no-brainer nomination.
Yes.
The way the
music
biopic is almost an automatic. The way the industry seemingly wants to embrace Jeremy Allen White, right? Based on The Bear, it feels like no problem. And we both have Dwayne Johnson doing a transformative, kind of not a stunt performance, but you know what I mean? It does feel like one of those where it's like...
It's a serious turn.
A serious turn against type, physical transformation in a genre that has yielded acting nominations as well, right? Like The Wrestler or just like kind of like that kind of biopic as well. So those are great. We both have Timmy doing another... It's actually, it's very excited for this, like we said. We both have Colin Farrell. And then you have Leo, and I have Matthew McConaughey, two former acting winners. So not far afield here, again, when we're doing this in a year from now, if we're lucky enough to be doing this a year from now, we'll see how these shake out. But the one thing I would say is, like, this is a really competitive category. There were so many people I thought of putting in here.
There's a lot of big names this year, not just in this category, but everywhere.
So we didn't even... So we'll talk about, I guess, Paul Mescal later, right? For supporting actor, I believe, for this, right?
Hamnet?
Yes.
Yeah, but you could also do him for History of Sound here.
So he could be History of Sound here. He could be Hamnet as well, right? We mentioned Daniel Day-Lewis for Anonymity, which is going to be great.
This is like the new Verger. DDL for Verger.
Anemone, I'm going to guess it's Anemone. It's Anemone. George Clooney for Jay Kelly. I almost had in here. I thought really hard about it, but I just was like, what if, I don't know. I wanted to do it too because of some other picks I have coming up. I feel like it's very 90s coded Oscars, maybe. Oscar Isaac for Frankenstein playing the title doctor. Jesse Plemons, like you mentioned.
I mean, like, yeah, some of Jesse could also be supporting. Like, who knows? You know,
true.
Like, we don't know. Jafar Jackson for Michael.
Another music biopic.
Mm-hmm.
How about this movie we didn't mention, but Netflix picked it up quietly, I guess, out of Sundance. Train Dreams, which got really good buzz there, quiet buzz. But I was like, that's another potential contender with Joel Edgerton as a potential nominee here. I feel like based on their slate, I would not entirely surprise me if they position this elsewhere. I don't know, but I guess we'll see. They just have so many movies. How are they going to fit all these movies? I guess it could be like this year's His Three Daughters. That's what I was thinking.
The first one out the gate.
Yeah, maybe.
I want to shout out Wagner Moura for The Secret Agent, in honor of I'm Still Here's historic Oscar win for Brazil.
Okay.
Let me read you the logline of
Please
this
do.
film. 1977. During the final years of the military dictatorship in Brazil, Marcelo, a 40-year-old teacher, fleeing from mysterious past, returns to Recife in search of some peace, but soon realizes that the city is far from being the refuge he is looking for.
Wow. You had me at 1977. Let's do Best Actress. Loads of very famous people, possibly in contention. Here's what I have. Jessie Buckley for Hamnet. Jennifer Lawrence for Die My Love. June Squibb for Eleanor the Great. Renate Rensby. How do you say that one?
Right side?
For Sentimental Value. And the great Julia Roberts for After the Hunt.
I have Rose Byrne for If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. She won Berlin.
Love it.
Jessie Buckley for Hamnet. Renata Reinsve for Sentimental Value. Julia Roberts for After the Hunt. And June Squibb for Eleanor the Great.
I love this so much. I also thought of Rose Byrne. Could happen. A24 movie. I feel like that's, to me, that was like, wins Berlin. They're going to put that on ice, relaunch it, and Telluride Toronto with like a starry, like, Rose Byrne gets the silver medallion, right? Special thing.
Her
We
tribute.
love Rose Byrne.
Yeah.
Here's a tribute to Rose Byrne. And it's like a screenplay and acting contender for A24. And people love Rose Byrne. I feel like she's worked with almost everyone in the industry.
And she's also at like the right point in her career for a first nomination, you know? I'm sure a lot of people are like, oh my God, like, how has she never been nominated before? She's so great in all these things, you know?
And it's a movie about motherhood, so it's like, slash, like...
Is it this year's Night Bitch?
It feels like it's Night Bitch with the substance. You know what I mean? It feels like a topical story that people will respond to. Let's put it that way. So I was like, I think that could happen. But I went with Jennifer Lawrence for Die My Love, just because I was like, well, you know, if the movie's going to be big, why wouldn't she get nominated? Maybe it won't. So many other people we could have put here. Neither one of us put reigning Best Actress nominee, Cynthia Erivo.
Yeah, I thought about it. And then I actually had her in there at one point because I was like, oh, it'll be easier to just pick 4 other people. But then I was like, there's actually a lot of people. And then I just took her out. So I can see both her and Ariana Grande getting back in, but I think it will be difficult to do it back to back for both of them, you know, and I don't think voters are thinking this way, especially not like in phase 1 when it's just branch voting, but Cynthia will probably get a nomination and maybe a win in original song because there's 2 new songs in for good. So she could still EGOT next year, but maybe not in acting.
I just felt like I was like, knowing the show, there's nothing in the show that's going to be as good as in the second act. Unless
the second act is not as good as the first act.
So unless these new songs are like fantastic, and I have high hopes for the second act, and I'm sure that is where like a talented filmmaker like John Chu and the screenwriter, they could really make it their own, right? Like still tell the same story, but improve upon what the second act of the show is. Because when you're on Broadway, like you said, like the first act's great, you're going to see Divine Gravity, it rules, and the second act is fine, and then it kind of ends, and it's good. It's all still good, but like you're more, so they have a chance to improve upon, I think, the second act. They have these new songs, but I was just like, man, there's no, probably, I don't know, will there be as much enthusiasm? Like it feels like they hit peak enthusiasm this year, and while I think the movie will do really well, without a doubt, when it comes out later this year, I just have a hard time thinking they'll be able to generate as much enthusiasm with the industry and in the Academy as they were this year. So that's why I didn't put her in. Or Ariana Grande to spoil that coming up.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think some of the arguments like this past season about like why they wouldn't win was that, oh, people will think like, oh, they can get them next year.
Yeah.
Which might be a thought, but then also you don't know what new movies are coming this year, and you might be more excited about something else than you didn't know about right now, you know?
Mm-hmm. And here are some other names that we didn't mention, but this is what I mean when I say this is like a completely stacked potentially completely stacked category. Kate Blanchett for movie Father, Mother, Sister, Brother. There's another movie release. Jessica Chastain for Dreams, which has no distribution yet, but was pretty well received at Berlin, I believe that was. Olivia Colman for The Roses, which is a War of the Roses remake from Searchlight, which gives me a lot of hope. And Jay Roach, which makes me think it's not as much of an Oscar play as it is an audience play, but we'll see. Anne Hathaway for Mother Mary, which is a A24 movie. Dakota Johnson for Materialist. No, it's cleaner. So I'm just like, there's like a ton of people. Tessa Thompson, I've seen people floating for Hedda.
Emma that's Stone, coming out finally?
Maybe. I don't know.
Hedda? Really?
Emma Stone for Begonia, obviously. There's a lot of Oscar winners who have potential nominees this year.
Yeah, there's also Amy Adams, At the Sea.
Yes.
Sydney Sweeney for the untitled Christy Martin film.
I'll say this, if that comes out and is any good, I think she'd be like a legit contender because, again, a physical transformation. I think people like her a lot and are like excited about her, though I don't know if she gets because she's Sydney Sweeney is a very attractive woman. I don't know if she gets as much respect for being a performer as she would, otherwise. I think people are always like, oh, she's just like hot, basically, right? Like they don't give her the respect that she's actually talented sometimes. So
yeah, there's Amanda Seyfried for Anne Lee from Mona Fastboy.
Mm-hmm.
Lucy Liu for Rosemead.
What is that one, Joyce?
She's been working on that for like years, apparently. So I don't know.
Okay.
But like passion project.
Love it.
So yeah, I don't know.
We both have June Squibb. Just want to highlight that's a Sony Pictures Classics release. So
it's ScarJo's directorial debut.
I'm never counting out our good friends at Sony, Tom Bernard and Michael Barker. And I'm like, if anybody could get a nomination here, June Squibb is this year's Bill Nye, maybe.
I mean, they already got her presenting at the Oscars this year.
Was such a coup. I was like,
great.
When I saw that, I was
Hilarious.
like, she's getting nominated. She's absolutely getting nominated. So there you go. Let's do supporting actor, Joyce. I've got Andrew Garfield for After the Hunt, Paul Mescal for Hamnet, Josh O'Connor for History of Sound, Adam Sandler for Jay Kelly, and Jeremy Strong, Number One Boy, for Deliver Me From Nowhere.
So you have the History of Sound stars against each other.
I do. I think that this is a year where, at least on film Twitter, why don't you? I'll do the spiel after you do your picks. Go ahead.
I have Coleman Domingo from Michael.
Yes.
Trying to do the Renee Zellweger 2 lead losses and a win in supporting.
Why not?
Andrew Garfield, Paul Mescal for Hamnet, Stellan Skarsgård for Sentiment and Value.
Yes. And
eldest boy, Jeremy Strong, back-to-back supporting actor nominations for playing mentors.
Okay, so we have the same. We have 3 of the 5, and then we split. I have Sandler because I'm going to ride or die for him all year, and you're going to get sick of me hearing me talk about it. And I have Josh O'Connor, and you have Coleman Domingo and Stellan Skarsgård. I'll say this: Coleman Domingo could absolutely win here, no matter what happens with the movie. There's so much love.
He could be a lone nominee again.
He could be a lone nominee and actually win. Honestly, I really believe that. I feel like after this year, if I feel like the industry loves him. You could tell, like at the Oscars, he was like center of attention. People just love him. And I think if he's ever in a category that doesn't have like a strong front runner, like he would just be like an immediate win to me. That's just how I feel at this point. So he could win for this with even no other nomination.
And it will also be great if they maintain what they did this year and have the previous year's winner present the same category. Then it'll be a reunion between him and Kieran.
Love it. That was a great actors on actors.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I was going to say about Josh O'Connor and Paul Mescal, but mostly Josh O'Connor. So Josh O'Connor, obviously film Twitter fave after Challengers. Just the greatest. People love that, right? Like the greatest thing of all time. He's so great in it, including me. I thought it was like a wonderful performance. So I feel like we're going to spend the whole year now talking about him in either History of Sound or Knives Out, because he's also in that. I kind of feel like he's a major role in Knives Out just based on his stature and probably how the franchise
It feels like he's the Ana de Armas and Janelle Monáe.
I 100% agree. So I think he's like the lead of the movie. And then here he'll be supporting for History of Sound, and all this will generate enough noise around him that he ends up getting nominated, because it's just going to be like the Josh O'Connor year, right? Like everybody loves him. And Sandler got his campaign started at the Oscars, and I'm just like, let's fucking go. Like I'm so in on him getting it. He should have gotten nominated for Uncut Gems. The movie was probably too soon. I was thinking that we didn't need to talk about this. I was thinking this, like, if Uncut Gems came out like even last year or 2 years ago, don't you think it would have gotten more nominations, including him, based on how the Academy has shown its taste have evolved?
maybe. I think it also helps that he got that SAG nomination in between
for Hustle.
For Hustle, yeah.
I just was like, because I was like, Anora is so Uncut Gems coded. I think it's actually like we interviewed Sean Baker, Joyce. Good for us. Great.
We got him those 4 Oscars. So.
And one of the things he talked about when we interviewed him, which I totally agree with, we talked about like how his movies, like there's a version of Anora that is like much darker and more violent, where the character's getting killed off, like Coen Brothers style or whatever. And it's not that, because he has such like a deep affection for the characters and treats them like human beings. And I'm not saying that the Safdie brothers don't do that, but they definitely they were more hard edged, I would say, with Uncut Gems. And that I think throws people off. So Sandler in a Noah Baumbach movie.
It's like, it's missing that like emotional core that Anora has, especially by the end.
And at the end is so dark, right? It gets really cynical and dark. So I was like, Sandler and Jay Kelly, there's a long way of saying like Sandler with a Noah Baumbach movie that's like just made for like middle-aged Academy members, feels like maybe he can get in. And like you said, especially after Hustle, like giving him like a little bit
it kind of feels like maybe like earlier or in the past when he first started venturing into like more serious fare, like, which was also like 20 years ago too. So it's like people didn't take him seriously, but maybe now like he's also proved himself to them too, like to the snobs.
Mm-hmm. I 100% agree. And Stellan Skarsgård would be great. You have him get.
I love the Skarsgård family, so
would be so fun. Other people we didn't mention that I guess you could. Christian Bale for The Bride, I'm assuming is supporting.
I don't know. You know what movie we have not mentioned yet at all?
Which?
TIFF audience winner, The Life of Chuck. You could have Hiddles here and Mark Hamill.
Wasn't sure what to do with that. Neon's got it coming out in May, not even like end of May. Maybe we'll see. Could definitely show up here. How about Jacob Elordi for Frankenstein? 2 Frankensteins here. 2 Frankenstein's monsters. Excuse me. Here's a movie we didn't mention at all that I don't even know if it's coming out this year, though I think it might be. Bradley Cooper's Is This Thing On?
I thought about that too. They're filming it right now. Will Arnett. I kind of feel like if they make it in time and they fast track it, and it plays well, that like Will could get in. I don't know about Bradley.
Would Bradley be? He'd probably be supporting, right? Because Will is. Arnett's
Will is the lead. Yeah.
So it's a world where Bradley Cooper wins his first Oscar in a supporting role in like a more lighthearted movie. Like this is not. This sounds like it's a comedy, right? Like it's about like is it about a stand-up comic or what? Even though like I forget what he has said about it, but it's definitely not like Maestro. We're not going to have the Bradley Cooper press tour where he's talking about doing a lot
and
of
then
research.
he's also like the camera operator on this one too.
Yeah, he got unionized. I remember seeing that, and he was so thrilled. So I was like, I think there's a world where this is like a lower key movie, where if it's like really entertaining, it's a Searchlight Pictures release, so you know it'll have like a good campaign around it and obviously get visibility. Yeah. They're really good. It's a great home for it. It's a more like probably I would imagine like this is just based on what we've read. You tell me if you think this sounds right. It probably like a less prickly David O. Russell sounding, like, you know, like an adult drama, that kind of thing, but not as like manic as a David O. Russell movie is. So maybe it's like a little like Noah Baumbach-y, a little spiked like Bradley Cooper-y. And what if he gets in supporting actor and wins for this, and that's his win? Would it be crazy? I guess. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, he plays his friend, so I mean, like, who knows how big of a part it even is? You know, True. It could be like really minor to maybe it's like Licorice Pizza style, you know, like that level. Yeah. But it's probably more substantial than that if he's playing his best friend. But yeah, they just started shooting it. Like Will talks about it on Smartless like frequently. So
yes,
but yeah, I could totally see them fast tracking this because it doesn't feel like it's going to need a lot of post.
No, and I think they could get it done, and maybe it comes out this year, and then like it's in there, and Will's in there, and maybe Bradley's in there. Will Arnett would be someone who I think, again, this is as we've said a lot. It's a local event, right? A local celebration. That's what Bong Joon-ho called the Oscars, and no one. I feel like Will Arnett got to have one of the highest ratings among Hollywood. I mean, people love
exactly.
him.
I was like, I could see him getting in if this is like decent, and it makes it out this year.
So maybe him and Bradley both get in. Sean Penn for One Battle After Another, the PTA movie, and Jeffrey Wright for Highest to Lowest are 2 people I thought of, but I didn't put in. And then supporting actors, Joyce, here's what I have. I'm going to stick with this. Why not? I have Emily Blunt for The Smashing Machine. I have Iowa Debris for After the Hunt, Regina Hall for One Battle After Another, Gwyneth Paltrow for Marty Supreme, and Sissy Spacek for Die My Love.
I have Emily Blunt, Iowa Debris, Elle Fanning for Sentimental Value, just all in on Sentimental
Let's
Value.
go.
Regina Hall for One Battle After Another, and Gwyneth for Marty Supreme. Her comeback. Is this going to be her Oscar comeback? First nomination since her win.
Yes. I could already see the David Canfield Vanity Fair story, right? Can you imagine it? Like, I just picture it. I could see, like, everyone's going to be so psyched for Gwyneth to come back. The biggest issues for me are, I'm more and more reticent about the late release dates. They worked for A Complete Unknown, obviously, and they got all the nominations, and it was great. But they did start rolling that out a little earlier, so hopefully here they do something similar. And then also, she's not the only supporting actress in the movie, because Fran Drescher is probably a contender as well.
SAG president, Fran Drescher.
And so I'm like, well, they split the vote, or maybe they'll get double nominees. But I'm way in on Gwyneth being here. We didn't mention Ariana Grande, but we had talked about, as we said earlier, I'm not sure they're going to come back to the Wicked crew.
I mean, she also has an extra song, a new song in part 2. So, but like Act 2 is not really about Glinda, so I don't know. We'll see. I also thought about Laura Dern for Jay Kelly.
Sure.
I mean, there's a lot of people in that cast.
Yeah, we don't know who's going to go from there, but yes.
Yeah, and then I mean, I have like Emma here for Begonia. I don't know if she's like lead or supporting. Nia Long for Michael.
Mm-hmm.
Another Regina King for Caught Stealing, a movie we haven't mentioned yet. Darren Aronofsky, Austin Butler.
Truly about a baseball player who resorts to a life of crime. This is going to be my fucking jam, Joyce. But it's not coming out. It's coming out Labor Day weekend, I think. So not the greatest release date, I would argue.
I mean, who knows? So
I'll give you a couple of people I thought of. Tilda Swinton for Ballad of Small Player.
Mm-hmm.
America Ferrara, Halo nomination for The Lost Bus.
Just put her in. Why do you not have her in?
I should really put her in. I don't know who to drop, though. Let me take a look. Who would I drop? I guess I'll drop Sissy Spacek. I can put in America Ferrara.
Do it.
I'm changing America Ferrara. I'm doing it live. Sorry.
Lost Bus everywhere.
I only have it in 2 spots. Come on.
I mean, like, who else has the Lost Bus in more than 2 spots? So
this is my new. This is We Live in Time. I thought it really hard of her because I was just like, oh, they loved her in Barbie, and like she probably has like a big role in that movie, and it sounds like timely. There's a movie called Eternity, which is an A24 movie with Divine Joy Randolph and Miles Teller, I think, coming out. So Divine maybe is a contender here.
There's Michaela Cole for Mother Mary. It sounds like a 2-hander with her and Anne, but they'll probably run her or one of them in supporting. So,
and how about Emily Watson for Hamnet?
Yes.
And then let's do screenplays quickly, I guess. I got adapted screenplay, Ballad of a Small Player, Deliver Me from Nowhere. I'm going to do History of Sound, One Battle After Another, and Knives Out 3.
I have Ballad of a Small Player, Begonia, just because it's Will Tracy.
Okay.
Hamnet, One Battle After Another, and Wake Up Dead Man.
So I really should have Hamnet. It feels like the most no-brainer of no-brainers. Maybe I'll drop Deliver Me from Nowhere. All right, I'm changing it live. I'm copying you. I'm copying Joyce. I'm changing it live. I got Hamnet now. So now I have Ballad of Small Player, Hamnet, History of Sound, Battle, Dead Man. Great. This is great.
I'm gonna keep up with the lone screenplay nominee for Knives Out.
That feels right to me. I don't know. And then original screenplay. I'm going to go with this. I think these are all wrong. After the Hunt, Eleanor the Great, Jay Kelly, Marty Supreme, and Sentimental Value. So a lot of names. 3 names.
A lot of people.
A lot of people. Proper nouns.
It's the titular role.
It is a titular role. Eleanor the Great.
I have After the Hunt, Jay Kelly, Marty Supreme, Sentimental Value, and then I just have Sorry Baby in here.
Oh, Sorry Baby. We didn't even mention Sorry Baby, Joyce. Thank you for reminding me about this great Sundance movie that had many on film Twitter doing cartwheels.
Mm-hmm.
Ava Victor, they're the writer, director, and star. A24 picked it up. It's a movie, a millennial core movie about a young college professor who has a traumatic incident happen to her as she's teaching, and then kind of picks up the pieces. That sounds very dramatic, but it's played much more light of. There's a much lighter touch than that log line, I would say. Having watched it, I've actually seen this one.
Yeah, I just put it in here just because I didn't know what else to put in the fifth slot.
I've seen people compare it to Manchester by the Sea and like really want to get behind it. I think it'll have a lot of enthusiasm. It absolutely will get like the
it's the critics,
and they'll get the indie spirits. So it could be like another. I saw the TV glow, but I think it maybe will break through a little further. So if Ava Victor is nominated, that would be great.
Another Sundance film we haven't mentioned, Twinless, could also be in here.
Twinless for sure. Eternity, I think, could be in here. There's a movie we didn't mention at all that has no distribution, but incredible people behind it. Late Fame.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe and Kent Jones, I think, directed it, right? From a script by Sammy Birch, who is the writer of May December, Joyce. Mm-hmm. Sounds great. Sandra Hüller's in it, too.
You know what movie we haven't mentioned at all? The Phoenician Scheme, Wes Anderson.
Wasn't sure what to do with that. I've seen people float like Michael Cera. You know who else is in it? Kate Winslet's daughter. So I'm like, that acting's got to be great. I'm all about Wes. We're recording this last night, Joyce. I rewatched Royal Tenenbaums. Hard to imagine a better movie, but I was like way in on that. I'm like, let's go. Sentimental value. We said Anemone. Roger. How about Good Fortune, a Lionsgate movie written by Aziz Ansari?
Oh yeah, that one. I don't know. Sure.
That's about it, I guess. Those are the screenplays I see. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean the other ones for adapted. I mean The Roses, Tony McNamara, obviously.
Wasn't sure, like we said, wasn't sure what to do with that. Benedict Cumberbatch got a big starry push for his Sundance movie, and I was already like, oh, they're getting their engines revved for his future Oscar campaign. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. And then we back to adapted, but how about Life of Chuck?
I mean, maybe I could see that happening for it and like nowhere else. I don't know. I mean, like either of the Frankensteins.
Either of them. Mm-hmm. I was like more like those are like film. They're like more filmmaker movies. I think. I don't know. Not writer movies.
Not writerly enough.
I don't know. So those are our picks. So bookmark this episode. We'll be back. I guess we'll do these. We'll do a redo of these in July. Comment on this episode. Email us at slugfests@goldderby.com. And we'll be doing a whole bunch of stuff in the next coming weeks. Joyce, this was great. It was a great Oscar season. Any last words on this Oscar season now as we head into the sunset?
It was a fun one, unpredictable. I hope more of them were like that.
Well, we're over an hour here, but I just wanted to say, was it that unpredictable? Like it was unpredictable. I've said that in many stories.
It's more that like it wasn't following a lot of stats that people cling to.
Yes, that was really fun. And it was a very good year. And again, like you said, because it was such a year with a lot of new faces and people the Academy has not previously embraced, I thought that was like really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, like one of the reasons we went over 5 in our directing picks a year ago was because we were leaning on like familiar names, like past nominees and winners. And then this year they had first-time nominees in directing.
Yes.
For the first time in 26 years. So, and then like for months, people were like, oh, there needs to be a past nominee here. And I was like, no, there doesn't need to be.
Thanks for listening to Awards Magnet, a Gold Derby podcast. Like what you heard? Leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Awards Magnet is produced by Andrew Merrill. Our logo is designed by Chelsea Sikora. Please like and subscribe to stay on top of all the awards news and email us at slugfests@goldderby.com.